Purdue Pharma. Actually, it is. The Purdue Pharma company is pretty much the sole reason as to why the opioid plague in America is pretty much flourishing the way that it is. And right now they have been pretty much set to pay out billions of dollars pretty much in restitution. You know, it's funny again, because I actually just did a video about Oklahoma, versus opioids, and how they had to pay them like $572 million. And now Purdue Pharma, who was the kingpin of opioids, has to pay out billions. And it's a big number as well. Billions of dollars is big anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. It says, OxyContin maker, government attorneys in settlement talks. State attorneys general and lawyers, and by the way, this is coming out of Columbus, Ohio, the hub for heroin. State attorney generals and lawyers representing local governments said Tuesday they are in active settlement talks with Purdue Pharma, the maker of the prescription painkiller OxyContin, that is facing billions of dollars in potential liability for its role in the nation's opioid plague. Purdue has been cast by attorneys and addiction experts as a main villain in the crisis for producing a blockbuster drug while understanding its addiction risk. A report by NBC News said the privately held company has offered to settle for $10 to $12 billion. Now, this is what Purdue Pharma is agreeing to settle with. The fact that they're settling with $10 to $12 billion, and I'm talking about billions with a B, lets you know how much this company has affected or has been a huge part in the spread of this plague. That's why I call them the kingpin. In a statement, the Stamford, Connecticut-based company said it's prepared to defend itself but sees little good in years of wasteful litigation and appeals. Oh, they basically saying we're going to face this head on. We not ready to pay up. I mean, that's what we'll have to pay up at that time comes, but we're ready to fight it so we don't have to pay it, or at least don't have to pay that much. Purdue believes a constructive global resolution is the best path forward, and the company is actively working with the state attorneys general and other plaintiffs to achieve this outcome. News of the settlement talks involving more than 2,000 lawsuits against the company and other players in the painkiller industry comes about 2 months before the first federal trial over the toll of opioids is scheduled to start in Cleveland. NBC reported that Purdue presented a plan for it to declare Chapter 11 bankruptcy and then restructure into for a profit public benefit trust. Paul Farrell Jr., a lead plaintiff, a lawyer representing local government, said all sides remain under a gag order. All we can confirm is that we are in active settlement discussions with Purdue. Attorneys General representing several states also confirmed the accelerated negotiations. Ohio Attorney General David Yost is actively engaged in conversations with Purdue, said spokeswoman Bethany McCorkle, declining further comment. Kylie Mason, a spokeswoman for Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody, declined comment on details of any possible settlement, but said the state will continue to aggressively pursue justice to ensure those companies complicit in the opioid plague pay for the pain and suffering inflicted on our state. Well, how about that? Isn't it amazing how big of a heart that they have, how they have opened up their arms and their chest cavity to expose that heart of theirs and be willing to say that enough is enough and we need to restore what has happened because of what they did. But when it was us and you open up their arms and their chest cavity, it was nothing there. No heart, nothing. Why? Because they don't care. They didn't care. That's why I don't care. I feel nothing. Like I said in the previous video with Oklahoma, this will change, in my opinion, absolutely nothing, because the plague is too far gone. Even if they get that money, it's still going to take years for them to clean all of that up. At this point, if the people who are junkies on those drugs are too far gone and are beyond help, you're just going to have to let them die and just have to restore if you can. Purdue Pharma is owned by members of the Sackler family, who have given money to cultural institutions around the world, including the Smithsonian Institution, New York City's Metropolitan Museum of Art, and London's Tate Modern. In March, Purdue and members of the Sackler family reached a $270 million settlement with Oklahoma, which is what I stated in the previous video, to avoid a state trial on the toll of opioids there. Lawsuits filed more than 2,000 state, local, and tribal governments have cast Purdue as a chief villain in an overdose crisis that has killed more than 400,000 people in the U.S. since 2000. And they said that's what it's sounding like to me. That sounds like that's all nationwide. But if that's statewide, that's a lot of people. The lawsuits assert the company aggressively sold OxyContin as a drug with a low chance of triggering addictions, despite knowing that wasn't true. Purdue drugs are just a slice of the opioids prescribed, but critics assign a lot of the blame to the company because it developed both the drug and an aggressive marketing strategy. Our mission here has always been clear. Make Purdue Pharma and the other manufacturers and distributors pay for what they did to Pennsylvania and its people, and put the Sackler family out of the opioid business for good, said Jacqueline Rose, spokeswoman for Pennsylvania attorney Josh Shapiro, who has staffers at the Cleveland negotiations. Even if they were to remove the Sackler family, you already know they're going to put that company into the hands of someone who's going to be willing to carry on what they already have going. This plague is not going anywhere. It will never stop. They can pour millions on top of millions, billions on top of billions, and it will, at the end of the day, be like putting a band-aid on a flesh wound every time. It's not going to work. Like, I already know it's not going to work. You see, they didn't put all these funds into the crack era or the crack epidemic of the 80s and 90s, early 90s. Now you really don't hear about it anymore. The effects are still there a little bit. Not as heavy as it was, of course, when it was going on. But we know why they did that. But at the end of the day, the Purdue Pharma company just manufactures the drugs. Who is the ones taking them? Who is the one distributing them? The doctors are. The people taking them are the users, the junkies, or the would-be junkies. So at the end of the day, the only fault here is the people who abuse the drugs. Because, see, they tell you on the bottle how much you're supposed to take. It's a prescribed amount. That's why they call it a prescription. But these individuals, they want to get better quickly. And they take more than the prescribed amount. It says take 2 every 4 hours. Here they are taking 10 every hour. Or 1 every 2 hours. Or every 30 minutes. Or however long they want to take it. Because they know the drugs that they are used to getting is not getting them high enough. And whenever someone gets a high from something, they're always going to either go look for more drugs that gives them that same high, or they're going to go look for a stronger, more potent drug that's going to take them even higher. So all that money they're throwing into this, it's not going to work, because guess what? Guess who they'll also have to compete with? Let's say that they did shut down the Purdue Pharma company, which I highly doubt, or if they get them out of the opioid business, which I highly doubt. You still got to compete with them people overseas, like China, and good luck with that, because these drugs bring in money. The fact that they have to settle possibly for billions of dollars shows you how much cash and funds they're getting from this plague. But good luck with that. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.